Thank you, Captain Ali, and thank you, Maritime Standard, for organizing this timely conference. It's an important opportunity to address a challenge that affects us all, not as only as a business community, but as a humanity as a whole. My name is Abdul Fahl. I am represented today a company called TT Club. TT Club is a London-based mutual insurance company. It's over 60 years old. We mainly insure port and terminal, but also transport and logistic operator. It's a mutual insurance company. It's managed by an insurance management company called Thomas Miller, who is also the manager of a UK P&I club and ETIC. The message I hope by the end of my session today to get across to you is that because we are at the forefront of that challenge, because we insure port and terminal globally, I would like to say things are getting serious now in terms of incident or climate change related incident, whether it's to do with winds or hurricanes or flash floodings. We don't see them so much in this region yet, but they are very evident in US, part of Europe, and as recently as this week, we've seen or we heard about the floods or the big hurricane in Asia. Our best scientific estimate indicate that unless we dramatically reduce greenhouse gases emission within the next 20 years, average global temperature could rise by 2%. This would lead to expanding deserts and shrinking ice caps, as well as rising sea levels and more frequent weather events such as hurricanes and typhoon. This changing will have a profound impact not only on the shipping industry, but also on the transport and port operation globally. We've heard today from a number of speakers today that the global transport and logistic industry is facing an unprecedented challenges in achieving material carbon emission reductions. The industry is estimated or continue to be estimated to contribute approximately 20% of emission, and this is likely to continue to grow at speed in a foreseeable future. The sheer scale of decarbonization the global supply chain is facing is quite staggering, and we've heard a number of statistics today substantiating that. While some operators have already started to take initiative to reduce that emissions through, especially we see this in the final mile delivery sector through implementation of electric bikes, electric vans and drones. However, the middle mile logistics and port operation, we would argue, have a long way to go. Operator of warehouses, terminals, and port areas are increasingly aware of the changes in local climatic conditions. In recent years, we've seen tidal surges, wind microbursts, and an unprecedented rainfall become more often. And also, while many storms are seasonal, the global supply chain we would argue, should be prepared for isolated severe weather events at any time of the year. Coastal areas are especially vulnerable, not just to strong winds, but also to surges and flooding, which can cause significant damage both at port and inland. Recent incident of flash floodings in some part of our regions have led to major losses, especially when operational risk assessment and preventative measures are lacking. Floodwater is particularly damaging and often sanitary, increasing both the extent of damage and health risk. TT Club, because of the insurable interest it has in hundreds of port and terminal worldwide, is well positioned to analyze claims, trend, and advise on loss preventions measures. These charts, which you see on your screen now, it's really an analysis of thousands of claims we have in our system, which leads to really the top major risk which ports and terminal globally faces. While key cranes related incident generate the highest of insurance costs for TT Club. However, weather-related claims continue to account for over 17% of total costs to date, and we expect this figure, as I mentioned at the opening of my presentation today, and we expect this figure to continue to increase in the foreseeable future. This is the slides also which bring the point I made earlier, that 17% really, if our claim data indicate that weather-related incident, it's continue to generate costs. TT Club also claimed data since 2018 shows that 68% of weather-related damage occurred at coastal part of facilities, while 38% affected the inland operation. Notably, 16% of claims involved heavy rainfall overwhelming the drainage system, causing flooding to building and storage, property damage from strong winds, and microbursts also occurred for accounted for 74% of claims during this period. So as a board, as a logistic operator, you probably ask yourself, what can we do to assess that risks and help prevent the consequences of that risks? We would advise that you start with your operation and ask questions like, what operational activity actually does your business undertake? Is it storage? Are you involved in inbound or outbound distribution, co-packing, self-storage, vehicle parking? How would your operation be affected in the event of your premises being flooded, for example? The location of your operation is equally critical. Consider how foreseeable, for example, it is that a storm surge could result in a breach of your storage facility, yard, or warehouse, particularly where that area, or where if you are located near sea level or near a river. If your operation is exposed to high winds, precaution might be needed to be taken regarding the stake height of your container, especially if you are a container operator. Investigate the historical weather data. This might provide an indication as to the regularity of heavy rainfalls and flooding. Consider also what cargo you are storing. This is very important. How vulnerable the cargo you are storing is to wet damage, and how they are protected from such risks. Is the cargo palletized? Is the cargo positioned in the rack of the floor? Are you storing heavy or sensitive cargo on the floor? Or how realistic is your emergency evacuation plans? We continue to be surprised that there are a lot of port and terminal out there who continue to operate or continue to go about their daily business without an emergency response plan in place. This is not good things to hear. We would encourage that everybody, because of that unpredictable risks out there, to have at least an emergency response in place. Also consider the aggregation risks. Consider the value of the cargo you are storing at your port. Where are you storing this large volume? Consider the aggregated risks and ensure that your insurer is aware. Ask what could be the exposure if it will all be damaged at one incident. So make sure that your insurance company is aware, and your broker also. Consider business continuity. Obviously, it's very important, and emergency response plans is extremely important. Contracts. There is a misconception out there that because a weather is damaging the cargo or the property I have, you can always rely on force majeure or act of God under your contract. This is not the case, because this incident happening at a regular basis. It is arguably legally that you will not be able to rely at force majeure defenses under your contract, and therefore think about preventions rather than reactions. This is very important. Insurance. While insurance might provide a degree of protection, but study shows that there can be a significant difference between an insured loss and full economical loss that cannot be insured. Remember that insurance company does not have a bottomless pockets. They also have some challenges when it comes to that kind of incident. Captain Ali, I'm finishing 1 minute. I know the gentleman before me finished 2 minutes earlier, so you can allow me at least 1 minute more.
You should see the looks I'm getting from Captain.
Okay, I'm finishing. Okay, thank you very much.